is that the weaponization of government? When you have these agencies unilaterally change the law without a vote of the legislative body, is that would you call that a weaponization of government?
Seems that way to me.
Mr. Kleckner, would you agree?
I do.
Mr. Graham?
Chairman, that's a department doing what they're directed to do, sir.
Okay. Let me say this. When the ATF unilaterally changed the definition of what a pistol brace and how that worked, and overnight made law-abiding citizens then felons, either turn the gun in or you're a felon, is that the weaponization of government, Mr. Kleckner?
It sure is, especially when we don't know that every American that had one of those got the message.
Exactly. And the same thing seems to have happened in the case of Mr. Malinowski. The ATF decided to change the definition of what an FFL, what a licensee was from principal livelihood to someone who's earning a profit. But it's even worse because they didn't have the definition changed and enacted when this terrible incident happened with Mr. Malinowski. That to me is that is the weaponization of government. Unilaterally making changes without it going through the legislative branch of government, the way our system is supposed to work, the checks and balances, how they're supposed to work. And in the case we're talking about so much today, they hadn't even fully made that change. They didn't even follow their own rule, for goodness sake. And we have an American who's no longer with us because of that. Mr. Cummings, response?
I agree with everything you said.
Let me ask you one other question. So Little Rock police were involved in the raid on the Malinowski home?
We know they were present. We don't know exactly what their role was. There were 10 carloads of agents.
No, we've seen the video of all the carloads coming from the Walmart parking lot to the Malinowski neighborhood. We've seen that video. Were the Little Rock police officers wearing body cams on the morning of this raid on the Malinowski home?
According to what we've been told, nobody had body cams on, even though Little Rock police are equipped with body cams.
That was my next question. They're supposed to wear them. Little Rock
That's
police.
my understanding. I'm not 100% sure about that.
Do you believe that the ATF told Little Rock police officers not to have their body cams on or not to have them engaged?
When the local PD is supporting a federal agency, typically they're taking orders from the federal agency. So I would presume, I don't know, that ATF instructed them to not wear it.
But that would be a logical presumption as a guy who's a former U.S. attorney, the way it works, federal law enforcement working.
That's consistent with my understanding of how those relationships work.
And again, we're back to the question you asked in your opening statement a couple hours ago. Why? Why would ATF tell Little Rock, don't follow your own rules? We're not going to follow our rules. We don't want you following your rules. We don't want any video footage of what we're about to do at the Malinowski home. An upstanding citizen, by all accounts, your whole testimony, highest paid official in Little Rock municipal government. Why would they do that?
We have no idea.
Yeah, but we got to find the answer to that because this is this is the weaponization of government if I've ever seen it. We thank you all for being here today, for your testimony. And I got to say something official here before we close out our hearing. That concludes today's hearing. We thank our witnesses for appearing before the subcommittee today. Without objection, all members will have 5 legislative days to submit additional written questions for the witnesses or additional materials for the record. Without objection, the hearing is adjourned.